who made it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another week's episode of Destined For More, the podcast dedicated to helping you bridge the gap from where you are to where you're destined to be. My name's Demaya and I'm so excited you're here. This podcast is for anyone who feels like they're meant for more than what the reality currently looks like, because trust, I'm right there with you. So we are going to get into this week's topic, which is talking all about taking things one day at a time, because let's be honest, Rome was not built in a day. And you guys know I got my notes with me just because I want to make sure that you guys have all of the tips and tricks you need to thrive in this world. So let's dive in. So I know that we all have really big goals. Some big, some small. And if you're anything like me, you're a future thinker. And when you're thinking about some of these goals that you have to accomplish, you're thinking like, man, there's a lot that has to go into it. And that can cause you to be overwhelmed because it can be very daunting to think about the final project and all the effort and energy that you're gonna have to put in. And I'll be honest, like I'm right there with you. I totally get how that can be overwhelming, and that can very much put us in a state of freeze. And when we're in that state of freeze, we don't get anything done because we're thinking about the final project and we're thinking about the fact that it's not possible to do in just one sitting. You're going to have to do things consistently over time to get it done, and you're thinking about things as a whole and you just end up not doing anything at all. We can't live like that though anymore, because if we continue to not get things done, you know what's going to happen? Nothing's going to get done. And so what we have to do is really shift our mindset, and we have to think about things from a different lens and understand that two things can be true. On one hand, yes, it can be true that the final project is daunting and overwhelming and big to get done. That's true. No one's taking away from that. On the other hand, though, it is true that it's manageable and that you can break it down into smaller tasks so that eventually you can accomplish that final goal. Because even though the final project is tough, there's little things that you can do along the way to get to that final project. And so both realities are true. We just have to choose which one we want to walk in. And so we have to really think about things from the lens of like, okay, what tasks do I need to accomplish in this day to help me get closer to my final goal? Not necessarily the final goal in itself, but what do I need to do today? So let's get to a few examples, because when you build little habits, routines, and cultivate discipline in yourself, over time, you're going to reach your final goal. That thing is going to come to fruition because you're showing up for yourself. You're being consistent. There's no way but for it to work out eventually. You know, even if it's not today or tomorrow, you're going to have to get there eventually because you're taking steps in that direction. So let's say you want to lose weight, and let's say, I don't know, you want to lose 100 pounds. If you think about 100 pounds in itself, that is overwhelming, that is daunting. If you think about that just off grip, you are not going to take the actions that you need to lose those 100 pounds. You're just going to be in a state of like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that I can't do anymore. I can't eat out as much. I can't buy as much like fast food. I can't just be lazy and sitting around all day. And you're going to be thinking about all the energy that you're going to have to put into this. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go to the gym. I'm going to have to exercise. I'm going to have to like push myself. And all of that stuff is not easy, especially for someone who is not living that lifestyle already. So if you're thinking about it from that lens, you're not going to get started. And I don't blame you for not getting started from that lens. But that's why you got to shift your lens, you got to shift your focus and understand that yes, While that might be true, you are going to have to shift things in your life. The other side of it is true as well, that you don't necessarily need to lose 100 pounds at once. You can break it down to small, manageable tasks for yourself to figure out, okay, what do I need to do every single day to help me reach my goal of losing 100 pounds? Let's say that you are eating out every single day. Now you can say, you know what? I'm trying to lose weight. I'm only going to eat out 4 days a week, and I'm going to cook the other 3 days a week and have healthier meals at those times. Yes, it's not a full 7 days a week, don't get me wrong, but Rome was not built in a day. You got to start somewhere, because if you set yourself up for like, oh, I'm not going to eat out at all, guess what? You're going to eat out. You're going to disappoint yourself, and then you're going to feel like it's this unattainable goal that you're not able to reach, and then you're never going to reach it. So what you have to do is start small and have baby steps to work your way up. So say, okay, I'm only going to eat out 4 days a week, cook the other 3 days. In terms of working out, as much as like I should be going to the gym maybe like 5 days a week right now, to be honest, I don't work out at all. So maybe I'm going to start off with working out 2 days a week. And then I'm also going to incorporate walking and doing other cardio exercises, whether that's on the treadmill, around your neighborhood, walking your dog, swimming, like whatever the case may be, but you can incorporate that the other days of the week. And so now, while you might not be lifting weights every day or, all that stuff, at least every single day you are being active, and then you're taking steps towards the nutrition side as well. You can do that for a few weeks, and then afterwards you bump yourself up. Now you only eat out twice a week. Now you work out 4 days a week, like whatever works for you, but you just have to figure out what is actually going to get you to do the thing. What's manageable? Even if it's small, like what can you do? Because you have to do something. Staying in the same spot is not an option. So just figure out what you need to do to take that step forward and take it. Another example that I have for you guys is for anyone who wants to get into like social media, creating content, anything like that. It can be very daunting if you're thinking about everything as a whole. Like, oh my goodness, to grow on social media, if you see people that are like, oh, you have to post like multiple times a day, and you have to do this with the algorithm, that with the algorithm. If you think about everything as a whole, you're not going to get started because it's going to overwhelm you, because at the end of the day, you're not equipped right off the bat. Like you really do have to go through things so you can grow through things, so you can figure it out, so you can figure out how to like pivot and do things in the best way. And so for someone who is trying to get started in like a business or social media or like whatever the case may be, maybe even a podcast, YouTube channel, like whatever it is, you just need to start. Because if you don't start, you're not going to get there. You have to start. You have to think, okay, what can I do today? To make it super plain for you, for me, my one thing that I can do for today is recording this episode. What's your one thing that you can do for today? Can you record some content for a little bit? Can you work on a business plan? Can you work on an episode? Can you work on a song? Like whatever the case may be, whatever your passion is, just think of the next step that you need to take towards that, and then just do that every single day, because eventually, even though it's not going to blow up overnight, that consistent action, you just need to prepare yourself and put yourself in the right position for when things do come to fruition. And so I just really want you guys to remember to really try not to focus on the end goal in your day-to-day stuff. Like you can think about it big picture wise, so you can have a goal of like where you're going in general, but then you really have to separate yourself from that and figure out micro level what needs to happen so that you can reach that macro goal. At the end of the day, we really have to try to be consistent in the small, mundane things that feel like they're not working or feel like they're not getting us anywhere. Because at the end of the day, when you're consistent in these things, at a point in time, you are going to get to your goal. Like when you're consistently reading your Bible, you will grow closer to the Lord, even though you might not feel closer to him in the moment. Like eventually, the more you keep doing it, you will. If you consistently journal, like your mental health will get better eventually. It might not feel better in the moment, but when you consistently create space for your mind, that stuff does help your mental health overall. Like there's a lot of things that we do that feel like there's no point to it, but there is a point. There's a point to praying, even though it doesn't feel like our prayers are being answered right away. Like there is a point to it. There's a point to stewarding your finances, even though in the moment it's like, oh, well, there's other money there. Well, no, there's a point to it, because you could be in a moment where there's no money there, So it's like there is a point to the things that we do in the day-to-day. And at the end of the day, those small, consistent things, doing them one day at a time, that's what's going to allow you to build that empire you want. That's what's going to allow you to have that legacy and build that generational wealth and freedom that that is out there for you, that that you can achieve. But you have to be patient enough to commit to these things one day at a time. And you have to have faith in the process as well, because if you're so focused on the end goal, you're going to be miserable going through it. And there is still a process that you got to go through to get to that end goal. So just try to enjoy the process of becoming the best version of yourself, and just be flexible enough to pivot. So that's all I have for you guys for this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Really use this mindset shift this week and let me know what you think and how you find it, the things that you're accomplishing. I can't wait to hear it. So I'm going to leave you guys the same way I do every week, which is our scripture of the week, which is going to be Psalms 55 verse 22. And it reads, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." I just want you guys to know that at the end of the day, life can be lifing and it can be challenging, but God is still God. Give it all to him. Things are going to be okay, and I cannot wait to see you guys improve and to talk to you guys next week. Have a blessed week, and follow us on all social media platforms at Destined For More Pod. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.